Alright, Snips, if you've made it this far, you've got the idea. Everything I said before comes down to this. Trust yourself. Not the council, not the manuals. You. You see things others miss, and that's what makes you dangerous in the best way. Your instincts are your strongest weapon. Don't second guess them, and don't try to fight like me. Take what works, leave what doesn't, and make the rest your own. Your troopers will follow you because you earn it, not because you're my Padawan. Remember that. Okay, that's the end of today's lecture. Go train, try not to break the ship, and if you have questions, find me before the next battle starts.
He sounds so alive. There's this ease in his voice, confidence without anger, even a hint of humor. I wasn't expecting that.
This was Anakin before everything piled onto him. The war, the council's doubts, and his own fear, before he started hiding how much weight he carried every single day.
I only heard something like that once, when he asked me to let him see me with his own eyes.
It was never gone, just buried.
But this Anakin, he feels like someone who could walk into any room and change the whole thing just by being there.
He did that all the time, even when it wasn't helpful.
It's strange. I recognize him, and at the same time I don't.
What do you mean?
The way he carries himself, the way he pauses before he speaks. Vader had those traits too, but they meant something completely different.
The habits stayed. The person behind them changed.
Here it feels like he's reaching outward, trying to connect with you, with his men, with anyone who'd listen.
That was him at his best. Open, direct, ready to take on anything, even when he shouldn't.
Seeing him like this, it makes everything feel clearer, more real.
Good. He deserves to be remembered as more than the mask he wore.
I'm glad you showed me this.
You're his son. You deserve to know who he was, not just who he became.
I wonder what kind of teacher he was.
Complicated, inspiring, exhausting. He taught the way he lived, fast, honest, and without pretending to be something he wasn't.
He talked to you so freely, like he wasn't afraid to show what he really thought.
That was his way of teaching. He never hid his opinions.
Was he strict?
Not in the usual sense. He didn't care about rules. He cared about results.
So he pushed you?
Constantly. Half the time he expected me to keep up with him. The other half he expected me to do the impossible.
Sounds familiar.
He could be intense, too intense, but he trusted me more than any master probably should trust their Padawan.
Trusted you with what?
Decisions, missions, orders I gave to my people. He threw me into situations older Jedi would have tiptoed around for months.
And you weren't scared?
Of the battles? No. Of disappointing him? Sometimes.
Because he expected too much?
Because he believed I could handle it. And that belief, it was powerful. It made me want to be better. Not because of the order, because of him.
He didn't teach you like the council taught their students.
Not even close. The council trained you to fit their mold. Anakin trained me to outgrow mine, even if it meant breaking a few doors on the way.
I wonder what kind of teacher he would have been, if things had gone differently.
A good one. Chaotic, unpredictable, but good. He cared, more than he ever admitted.
I can hear that in the recording. He wanted you to stand on your own, not be a copy of him.
Exactly. He knew the galaxy doesn't need two Anakins.
Maybe that's something I can learn from him too.
You should. His lessons weren't perfect, but they were honest. And honesty was his strongest teaching tool.
And the most dangerous one?
Sometimes. Because he expected you to live up to the version of yourself he saw. And that version was always bigger than you thought you could be.
I keep thinking about that last moment, when I was carrying him to the shuttle on the Death Star. I can't stop wondering if there was something I could have done, something that might have saved his life.
This isn't the first time you've tried to answer that on your own, is it?
No, I still see it, the way he leaned on me, how fast he was fading, and I think maybe if I'd moved quicker or refused to leave him, or... I don't know.
Luke, listen. You did everything. You reached the part of him no one else ever touched. If you hadn't, he would have died as Vader, not as Anakin Skywalker.
it still feels like failure.
It feels like grief, and that's not the same thing.
I thought bringing him back to the light meant he'd live, that saving him meant saving his life.
Saving someone doesn't always mean keeping them here, Luke. Sometimes it means letting them leave as the person they truly were, not the monster they became.
I wanted more time.
So did I. But Anakin's story was already breaking long before yours began, and you changed the way it ended.
I wish he'd had the chance to teach me, to be my father, for real.
Maybe he couldn't live long enough to do that, but he gave you something else, the truth of who he wanted to be, and now you get to decide what to do with that.
But if he survived, maybe he would help me to restore the order.
He would have tried, with everything he had, but it wouldn't have been simple. Anakin could inspire people better than anyone I've ever met, and overwhelm them just as easily.
Do you think that he would be a good teacher for a new generation of Jedi?
For some, absolutely. For others, he would have scared them half to death, but they would have learned.
It's a shame he'll never have the chance to teach them himself.
Maybe not in person, but you still have his lessons. Those recordings are the closest thing to having him here.
But they were meant for you.
They were meant for someone who needed them. Right now, that's you and your students. One day, they might learn from Anakin without even knowing.
I'd like that. A Jedi Order shaped by who he was before the fall.
Then use what he left behind. Take the best of him. He'd want that, even if he'd never admit it.
Maybe this is how he teaches me now, through the pieces of him that survived.
Exactly. And if you build your order with those pieces, it'll be something he'd recognize, and something the galaxy hasn't seen in a long time.
I don't know what the new order will become yet, but I want it to be something he wouldn't be ashamed of.
Then start with honesty. That was the one thing he always wanted from the people he trusted.
I'll try, and maybe I'll play those recordings a few more times.
You're carrying a big task, and big tasks don't get lighter just because you stare at them.
I know, but today, it feels like I finally took the first real step.
Good. Just remember, you're not taking it alone.